Why, hello there. Welcome to math lesson number 8, the Green Book question reading. Okay, hop out of there, hop out of there, hop in here, and we will zoom in a bit more. Okay, so we are starting on page 235, subtracting hundreds. Subtract by crossing out the correct number of boxes. So they've shaded in the first amount, the 60 out of 100, and you could cross out 20 boxes and see what's left and write the answer in here. Okay, so 32 100ths, you're going to cross out 22 out of those 100, so you're going to cross out 22 that are shaded and just count the ones that are left and put your answers in here. Okay. Number 2 says, write the decimals that correspond to the fractions in question 1. Correspond is a fancy way of saying that match. So AA, so they did this one here. So 60 out of 100, the decimal was 0.60. 20 out of 100, the decimal was 0.20. Oh my goodness, they're giving away the answer. It's going to be 40 out of 100 or 0.40. Okay, so for this one, you're going to write the decimals for this question. For this one, you're going to write the decimals for that question. Number 3, subtract the decimals by lining up the digits. Really what they should say is subtract the decimals by lining up the decimal point, because that's what's really important. Okay, so in here, they did 0.74, so they've lined up so that the decimals all line up, 0.74, then they put in the 0.31, and then they subtracted. Okay, so here, they've put the decimal points in for you for the top 3. So you have 0.88, 0.34, and then you're going to subtract. These ones, same thing, they just haven't put the decimal point in there. And be careful, this guy doesn't have the 0, but remember, in front of the decimal point, it's still going to be a 0. So you need to line up the decimal points and then fill in the other numbers. Up a little bit. Okay, question number 4. It's got the little notebook sign because they're being sneaky and they're writing it side by side. It says subtract the following decimals. And we know that it's way easier to do things up and down than side to side. So you might feel the need to write this on a separate piece of paper, or you can write them in the columns. Find a spot in around here to write them. But you're going to do the same thing that we've been doing up here. You're going to line them up with the decimal points, subtract them, and get the answer. Okay, number 5 says find the missing decimal in each of the following. So remember our 1 whole cake is going to be equal to 3/10 and 5/100 plus what? So what else is left that would get you up to this 1 whole cake? What they're really being sneaky about is they're asking you to subtract. So they're asking you to start with 1 whole cake, which is the same thing as 1.00, and then subtract 0.35 to figure out what is left. Okay, or you can draw the picture like this and figure out what is going in there. Okay, so in each case, it's going to be what extra do you need to make this up to 1 whole cake. All right, that's page 235. Next up, we've got page 236. That's still in there? Yes. Okay, so adding and subtracting decimals. Add by drawing a base 10 model, then using the chart provided, line up the decimal points and add. Note, use a hundreds block, ta-da, for a whole, and a tens block, ta-da, for 1/10. And they don't say it, but use a little 1 thingy for 100th. All right, so they've done the first one for you. They've drawn the pictures. They've added it up. Now you just have to fill in the chart, right? So you put the 1.1.32 and 1.15, and then put in the answer. So here, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw what 1.46 looks like. Then you're going to draw what 1.33 looks like. Then you're going to put it all together, sort it out by all the different blocks you've got, and then you're going to fill it into this chart here. Question number 2. Subtract by drawing a base 10 model of the greater number. So greater, bigger. So you're going to draw whichever the biggest number is, which hopefully should be the first number, then crossing out as many ones, tenths, and hundredths as are in the lesser number, smaller number, as shown in part A. So they did the first one for you. So the first number was 2.15. So they drew 2 full cakes, 1/10, and then 5/100, and then they subtracted. So they crossed out the other stuff. They crossed out 1 whole cake, they crossed out 1/10, and they crossed out 3/100. And what they were left with was 1 whole cake, 0 tenths, and 2/100. Okay, so you're going to do what they did here, but for these numbers here over here. How are we doing? Still in there? It's mostly in here. Okay. Question 3, add or subtract. Keyword here, or. So you guys really watch out. They're going to try to trick you. Is it a plus sign? Minus sign. So make sure you look really carefully what they're asking you to do in each question before you do it. Number 4, again, it's got the notebook sign. Bamboo can grow up to 0.3 meters in a single day in ideal conditions. How high could it grow in 3 days? So each day it could grow 0.3 meters, and you've got 3 days. So you can use your notebook, or you can find a spot to write that in here to solve that problem. Question 5. The largest axe in the world is 18.28 meters long. If a regular axe is 1.5 meters long, how much longer is the world's largest axe? Okay, word problems. We've been talking about adding and subtracting, so to figure it out, we need to know how much longer, or really what we need to know is the difference between 18.28 meters and 1.5 meters. So think about whether adding or subtracting will help you find the difference, and then you can use the spot over here to solve that. Number 6, continue the patterns. 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. So think about how that pattern's going up and fill in the next decimals. 0.3, 0.6, 0.9. Think about how that one's going up and fill in the next decimals. Okay, and again, if you run into trouble, just let me know. Okay, happy mathing!